Hello everyone, welcome back to our final Faith For Dummies episode. I'm joined with Izzie. Hi Izzie, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm sad, it's finishing. It was really weird, but it's a good kind of sad because it's been good. It's been fun.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it
how
has.
are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've just been eating some lime Doritos, which are the best.
It always makes me laugh when Rob wears yellow because our podcast colours are yellow and red. And I very rarely wear red anymore, but Rob often wears yellow.
I don't think I do I?
Well, you've definitely worn it on recording days quite a few times.
I don't believe you.
Or in person when I see you and I'm like, oh, you're wearing our uniform.
I will make an effort to not wear yellow then. Actually, that's not true. I won't do that.
Great. Good chat.
Cool. Izzie, I believe you have a dummy moment for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad moment as well as a dummy moment. Basically, for our wedding gift, we were given a really fancy meal, like a bunch of friends clubbed together, and they gave us this really fancy meal for a place that George in particular has wanted to try for a long time. It's near us. Everyone says it's amazing.
Yes, you're welcome.
It was not from you. So anyway, we booked it because we were so excited about it. And it was George's birthday last week, so we booked it for Saturday. And then we got to Friday and I was like, oh, my tummy's feeling a bit funny today. Like, wonder what that is, what's going on. And then Saturday morning, I was not well at all. I had some like stomach bug like problem basically. And I was like, George, we're going to have to cancel the fancy meal. And they wouldn't let us move it or cancel it because they're so fancy. And
wow,
so
really?
we basically had to ring around. I think we rang 5 of our friends in the local area to see if they wanted to take the meal from us because we were like, we literally can't use it. We might as well bless somebody else. In the end, a good friend of ours took it and they actually they paid for themselves so that we still have the voucher to use another day, which was so generous of them. But it was a real moment of like, oh, of all the days, I never ever get stomach bugs. Like that is the first time I've had any sort of stomach bug for years and years since I was like a kid. So
wow.
It felt like a dummy moment of my body.
How come they said you can't rearrange it, but then someone just paid for it?
So because they buy in all the food ahead of time, it's like super fancy, like tasting menu thing. They buy all the food in ahead of time. So particularly on the day, but even like 2 days before, they can't really rearrange stuff because they've spent a lot of money on the food. And they do tell you that when you book it. But then because we'd given them a voucher code, our friends went and they were like, can you keep that voucher code on hand for the next time they book and we'll just put the money in. So they didn't lose any money basically, which is fair. But, yeah, it's very kind friends.
Not shown up, but you gave them a voucher code.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had to pay like a 50% deposit beforehand anyway, which is a lot of money. So.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Anyway, dummy moment. There we go.
That's not really a dummy moment. That's quite a wholesome moment from your friend. Yeah.
The end of it was wholesome and lovely. But at the start, we basically just ended up, our kind group of friends who bought us a present almost just ended up giving a present to some other random people in the church for no reason.
So when are you going next?
We're going tomorrow. So nice. Fingers crossed, like everything's all right tomorrow and I'm not ill again.
Great. So if you are listening to this and you want to gate crash their meal, you can't because it won't even been released yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So we thought that we would use this last episode to kind of say goodbye, but also maybe just give a little roundup of maybe just reflecting on what it's been like recording a podcast and the fun we've had with it, and also maybe just telling you guys a bit of an update. I think we both shared our testimonies in episodes before, but maybe just giving you an update on where we are in our lives in terms of what God is doing, or, you know, how we're feeling about faith and stuff like that. Because I think it's really important for you guys to know that your testimony just keeps going. And like, we are youth workers in churches, but our testimonies keep going and evolving, and our faith keeps growing and changing. So yeah. But yeah, Rob, what's it been like for you recording a podcast?
I've really, really enjoyed it. I think it's been great. I think there's been moments where microphones have been in one house and my physical body has been in the church, not quite getting it in the right place, and forgetting little cables. It's definitely been a learning experience.
Or just forgetting what we were meant to be recording.
Yeah, there was a lot of at the start being like, oh, can you do this day? Oh, no, can you do this day? Oh, yes, okay. And then forgetting about it on the day. I'm like, is this a good idea? Should we really be doing this?
Yeah.
But I mean, it worked out well. I'll tell you what, our first time we did one, we literally voice recorded like on our phone. And then
Yeah.
and then we're on the phone at the same time to
Yeah.
hear each other.
If you go back and listen to the first few episodes, it's painful. Yeah. I remember that. I really remember that.
Yeah. Then we got we got some software, didn't we? George let us use his for free, which was really kind of him. And then we had to change software because he wasn't using it anymore. And then the new one was free and the new one was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's all boring. Sorry. It's been good. It's been good fun. Izzie and I have had to chat a lot just to kind of be like, all right, so what are we doing in this season? What do we think people are interested in? What have people said to us?
Yeah.
Who would be really good to interview? What topics? Who would be good for them? So it's been, in a way, a bit like having a business for some bits of it. And then we get online and we generally have about a 3-hour catch-up followed by a 20-minute podcast.
20-minute recording.
Yeah.
I think that's been really fun, like the planning and thinking, like gathering questions or thinking, what do young people want to ask questions about? Who could we interview for this question? It's been really fun exploring like our friendships and like who knows things about what topic and learning more about those friends and meeting one another's friends through that kind of as well.
Yeah.
That's been really fun. I will also say Rob has done like 90% of the work on this podcast. He wouldn't say, I don't think, but I basically just show up on time sometimes and I occasionally know what we're talking about. And then I'm like, okay, bye. And once in a while, he'll occasionally say, could you just edit this episode, please? But most of the time, he edits them. He does the sound, like the music. He does the artwork. Rob does everything. So this is like 90% Rob, 10% Izzie. So I'm very grateful.
It's been good fun. It has been really good fun. And people be like, oh yeah, that explains why it's so dumb now, doesn't it?
I think we've worked to our strengths and most of the things to do with the podcast are your strengths and talking is mine.
I'll tell you what though, I think I've showed up late about 90% of the time. So there you go.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
But most of the time, only by like 5 minutes. Like I'm just making a cup of tea.
Yeah, Rob is always like, I have set up. I'm just making a cup of tea. I'm just walking home. And I'm like, okay, see you soon.
Yeah, but at least I'd let you know.
Yeah, we have to allow like 2.5 hours for just a single recording, basically.
Although we have we're doing it a while, doing a few episodes at once, haven't we?
Yeah, that's true. This is on the spot question, but have you got any favourite episodes that we've done? Or like favourite people that we've spoken to?
I was just thinking about that. And if I should ask you what my answers would be, I think the honest answer is it would have to be an interview, obviously. I really appreciate everyone and everything everyone has said. I think everyone has delivered such a really good interview. Yeah. If you were just said, I've only got 1 or 2 episodes to listen to, what would you recommend? I think we did one with Grace about loss. I think that one was really strong. We did one with one of my previous young people about should I do church on a Sunday morning or should I do sports, which was a really good one. And the one a few weeks ago with Tim about loving the unlovable. And that's not to say that like they're better than any other guest that we've had. Everyone has been and delivered really good. But for me, I'm only thinking of the interviews I did because I don't know everyone from the interviews that you did. I also thought the one that Dan did on depression was really strong as well. And so, you asked for 1. I gave you 4. There you go. What about you, Izzie? Yeah.
The one that stands out most in my memory is also Grace's testimony about loss. I just think Grace was one of our first interviewees and she was so kind to do that with us and to open her heart up to us in a way that's really helpful. And I was going through loss, I think, at that time or very near to that time. And she just really ministered to me in that and it stuck with me. So thanks, Grace. Yeah, I mean, I think the interviews about anxiety and depression with Dan and Jamie, I mean, they're 2 of my best friends, so I'm a bit partial, but like that was lovely to just have a real candid chat about how to be a Christian and to be struggling with those things. And yeah, actually, I think that you've reminded me about the episode about Christians doing sports on a Sunday and stuff like that and just how we figured that stuff out. That was a really helpful chat to have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they've all been great, right? Like we've had so many good conversations and so many people. Oh, I'm even thinking about like Emily and Trina who talked about dyslexia and autism and how like those kinds of things can be how we can love people in the church. And we've had so many good conversations. I think it's just really blessed us. It's like having an hour-long phone call with a friend to talk about something specific. And you would never do that, but it was really nice to do that.
We had an interview with Micah. That was our first interview with three of us there. We had interviews with Luke and Gary. That was another one where three of us were there. That was a extra long one.
Yeah. And obviously all the testimonies we've had.
Yeah, I've just flicked through all of them to see what we had. We had to seek special permission, arguably rightly so, but from the 4 Points company to allow us to use their logo on one of the early ones, which they kindly let us do for free. So there's been a lot of little random bits that we've put in here as well, hasn't there?
Yeah, there really has. And then there's all the interviews that never happened that you just never will know about. People who either said no or couldn't do it or whatever. I don't think we've scrapped any episodes. I don't think we've recorded anything and then completely thrown it in the bin.
No. Have we even needed to re-record anything? I don't think we have we?
I don't think we have.
Well, we've done all right there, haven't we?
It's pretty good going.
Yeah.
Rob, could you update us with where you are in terms of your faith and your walk with God? I mean, I think your testimony episode was a long time ago. And obviously we talked mostly about how you became a Christian in the first place, but where would you say your relationship with God is? Obviously just be as honest as you want. And also we have a lot of chat about connection with God. So how do you in this time of your life connect with God or find time for God?
Yeah, of course. Happy to. I think when I shared my testimony, I did go into a bit of what was going on at that moment, but I think it was about a year ago. And at the time, I've got two young boys, ages change so much and that brings so much difference. And so particularly with the younger one, who was 9 months-ish a year ago and is now a year and 9 months. One thing that was so big in our life at that time was him, and he had some kidney stuff, which we're on top of at the moment, but might need a bit of surgery or something in the future. But he was so unhappy, and that meant that church was such a hard place to go because we couldn't really listen much or participate or whatever. I remember saying on the episode that my wife was really, really selfless in the only reason she went to church was for exposure for the boys. She didn't get anything out of it. She found it quite hard and quite draining. She was on mat leave. The baby was still waking in the night and all of those things that kind of combined to that. And so we have kind of come a long way since then. My wife's back at work as of probably about around Izzie's wedding, just a couple weeks before that. He is now sleeping through the night pretty much every night, which is great. Church is a bit more enjoyable. They've changed how the creche works, so you can now drop them and leave them. And our eldest is now in the Sunday club that they do, the kids group. So she does have some Sunday morning responsibilities, but not as much as me. Can now be in the sermon pretty much most weeks, which is really good. And yeah, for me, I mean, my job's still reasonably the same. We've made some changes, but it's still good. Still prioritizing on young people and serving them and helping them to discover Jesus either for the first time or, to keep on discovering him. Big Up Camp that plays a big part in that, how Izzie and I met. And I think my own personal testimony, I think these podcasts have been really good in helping me think about these things myself, as kind of Izzie said, and trying to take things on board for myself. It's been really good. I have an alarm that goes off pretty much every day, except for Sunday, in the morning, which tells me to read my Bible. And I'm trying, it's easier to do on the days when the kids are in childcare, but I do try and do that as much as possible. One thing I've started doing very recently is trying to memorize scripture. I saw a video where a guy was asked a question. He was able to recite it. And I thought about it for a little while. And I thought you do memory verses at kids club and stuff, the art to be able to do that. It's just so simple, but yet so effective. And so I started with I praise you because I'm fearfully, wonderfully made, because that's a verse about you and how awesome God is and how important you are. And I just think that's going well. That's helpful. Have I answered all the mini questions in your big question?
I think so.
Oh, cool. And if I was to throw all those mini big questions back at you, what would you think you would say?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a weird couple of years for me. And I mean, people listening to this who know me in real life will already know this, so it's not a shocker. But I am stepping down from my job as a youth worker, which feels like something I never would have done.
What? This is how you tell me?
Yeah, can you imagine? There's a time where I thought I would never stop church work, but there was also a time before church work where I thought I would never do church work. So, these things come in waves. And I think God has prepared me for each step of that, and like prepared my heart for each step of that. I'm still going to work in the Christian sector, actually, something to do with the camps that we go to. But it's been a real eye-opener for me to realize actually that God will still love me if I don't work for the church, and I will still have a relationship with God if I don't work for the church. That's been quite interesting. And church itself, like, it's tricky, as Rob was saying, if when you're kind of out doing youth work and kids work all the time, church can feel a bit weird, like you were saying for your wife, and it can feel like you're kind of going there to just look after other people sometimes. And sometimes church felt like that for me. Thankfully, I have a very lovely church, very, very wonderful eldership, and my pastor is great. So we've talked about that a lot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into church after this summer as just a regular churchgoer, and looking at where I can serve, where I can love people, and not being part of the staff team to do that. Both are great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that after 7 or 8 years of that. And I think in general, this past year has been amazing for me to learn about how to hear God. We talk a lot on the podcast about communicating and listening to God and praying. And I've always been someone who is like, why doesn't God speak to me? I don't get anything out of the Bible. Like, what's the point in praying? Why isn't God, talking to me in the way I want to hear him? And anytime we get those questions, I just feel it really deeply in my heart, because that's my whole life. And even now as an adult, I'm like, someone will come up to me and they'll be like, I think God has this thing to say to you. And I'll be like, well, why has he said it to you and not me? And actually, I've learned a lot about how God speaks to me. I've learned a lot about listening to him. And so I guess that's been my kind of theme of my faith journey this year, is it was feeling quite down. And that was part of why this podcast was great, because it was like helping me get back into those conversations again. And actually, I've really had to step back and learn. And this is like spending a few hours every other week with a friend, reading a book together and chatting and praying, learn how to listen to God and what his voice sounds like to me. But yeah, I'm moving into a very different season of life with job and marriage and stuff like that. But God has been the same and has been faithful in all of that, which has been great.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, both Adele and George, your husband, have been on the podcast, haven't they?
Yeah, George has gone from boyfriend to fiance to husband in the course of this podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Poor George.
You could see it as a promotion rather than poor George.
George has been promoted in our podcast world.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we've just loved doing it. It's been so much fun to hang out. It's been so much fun to have these chats. They've not just been for you guys, for young people or youth leaders or whatever. It's really been for us as well to think through how we feel about these things. And they've not just been conversations where we feel like, oh, we know everything. We've actually had to research and think and pray and talk and really get to the bottom of how do we feel about this topic and what do we actually want to say. So that's been quite fun to explore faith in a different way, hasn't it?
Yeah. Are there any people or ministries, digital or not, whatever, that you can point people in that will be good for their discipleship?
Yes. I think if you want podcasts, I'm often recommended like the Way UK podcast for young people. If you're a youth leader, I recommend the Youth Escape podcast. That's often really helpful. Not every episode will be for you, but that's often really helpful. But if I'm going to be really honest with you, and I'm saying this as someone who has had a podcast, I think the best discipleship you can get is a real life human being who's in your church, who knows you, or who is willing to get to know you and who will walk through things with you. I have plenty of people in my church who do that with me. I also have, a mentor that I met on camp outside of church, and I have friends like Rob, who we get to catch up quite often. But yeah, just someone in your church who is willing to get to know you, get to know your faith, you can be really honest with and walk with, is the best thing you can do. And you can top that up with podcasts and books and videos and Instagram accounts and whatever. But yeah, I think the best discipleship you can do, aside from just getting to know Jesus yourself, is another human being who is a bit older and wiser and is willing to walk through things with you. But yeah, what about you, Rob?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a physical church and a physical youth group would be really good. And if you don't have one, is there one slightly further away at a different church? But I do think it is also, that is important. I think that's probably the most important, but it is good to also talk about other like digital stuff as well. So the one that immediately comes to mind is the Way UK, as you said already. I also agree with you about the Youthscape podcast for youth leaders. There's a guy at my university who started a podcast called From Day 3. Obviously, Jesus rose on the third day, and that's them interviewing people that they know, mostly about their testimonies, but that's just really, really good. They're a bit longer than ours, but they're down to earth and good as well. I would recommend, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, a Ballers in God Instagram account, and further, I think I told you all to check that out just because you will leave feeling encouraged about how Christians are infiltrated, or maybe they've always been there, the football scene, which has been really, really exciting. I think the good thing about these podcasts is we're going to leave them here. So if all of a sudden you're struggling perhaps with like low mood or something, you can go back to listen to one about depression or something that's happened in your life, and there'll be a podcast hopefully that we've done that you can go back and listen to. So do feel free to do that, whatever works. I don't think anything can quite beat your local church, your local youth group. So yeah, and come to camp.
Yeah. To be fair, we met at camp and we promoted camp the whole way through this.
Yeah.
So,
and they aren't sponsoring us.
They are not. I mean, go to any Christian youth camp, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you don't have one associated with your church, then just have them all over the place. And if you are anywhere near, is it Sussex? It must be Sussex. I mean, we travel 3 hours to get there, so we're not anywhere near it, but we love it. And we'd love to meet you if you ever come along. But yeah, thank you so much for listening for all this time, guys, for being faithful and tuning in. And if you're listening to this in like 5 years' time, sorry that we finished the podcast.
Yeah, you know that feeling you get when you find a really cool series on Netflix and you're like way like behind, and all of a sudden they stopped. You're like, oh, why didn't I find this? Might be like that. Might not.
It might not be like that. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And for what might be the final time, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care. God bless.
Bye.